PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PACTV Community News. I'm Brian Sullivan.
And I'm Julie Thompson.
We have a full lineup tonight. We stop into Arrow and Pembroke to learn more about their community offerings.
We meet budding young talents from Plymouth North at Memorial Hall's Open Mic Night, and we talk about the proposed expansion of the Duxbury Senior Center ahead of town meeting.
We talk about the proper method of disposing of an American flag with the American Legion in Duxbury, and we learn more about the seawall and dam grants for the town of Plymouth.
But we start tonight's show with a ribbon cutting. The Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce held a ribbon cutting ceremony last week for Orangetheory Fitness, a new business in Kingston. Orangetheory Fitness members come in for a 1-hour full-body workout focused on training endurance, strength, and power. Members wear heart monitor wristbands and are coached through this group workout. We stopped into this very orange chute to hear more.
Hi, we're here today in Kingston for the ribbon cutting for Orangetheory Fitness. We opened about 2 months ago, so today was our official ribbon cutting through the Plymouth Chamber of Commerce. This was a great location for me personally, for Orangetheory to join this community because we have the right clientele and we were looking for a need for this kind of workout. Community is the forefront of our workout. We really want to have a place where our members feel welcome and are looking forward to working out. Even though it might be challenging for them, they leave here with a smile on their face. Using the heart rate technology makes the workout very personal for each member, so they can get something out of it that's very individual to them because our heart rate is very personal to each of us.
What separates this workout from other workouts is specifically the heart zone training, the 5-zone interval training. So you're looking at your heart range on a scale where you're breaking it up into 5 different zones, and we color code those zones. So you're wearing a heart rate monitor during the workout. This totally personalizes the workout so that it's you challenging you, because your heart rate range could be totally different from someone else. And when you're working out and I'm cueing you, say during a push or an all out, to say, I want you to feel uncomfortable, I want you getting that heart rate up into the orange zone, you have a tool right in front of you that gauges that for you. You can tell if you're not putting in the effort because you can see it right there. Because I stand over here and I have a mic on, I'm watching, say, somebody do their deadlift or their front squats. I can tell them, I can walk up and still coach the treadmills and say, hey, let's get your back here, let's get your posture here, your shoulders down. So you have someone tweaking you if you need it. Love teaching the class, and a really nice feature too for me, because I take class here all the time. The minute I'm done with class, I get a nice little message to my mobile phone that says, oh, Kate, you just burned this many calories and you got this many splat points, and a splat point is how many minutes you're in the orange zone. And it will break it down for the month, like how much I've done. I like that tool.
What I guess brings me back every day is the fact that it is an awesome 1-hour, really efficient workout where you're working your entire body. The other element is the coaches are awesome. They each have their own style, their own playlists, and they make it really fun and really motivating. It's kind of fun and interesting to see how you've done. And the other element is I've got some friends that come here too, so it's kind of fun to come and work out with your friend, and I think that's also a great motivating factor to push yourself harder.
The Arrow restaurant in Pembroke is doing its best to reinvent itself as the neighborhood eatery where everyone in the community is welcome. One of the ways they're doing this is by having what they're calling event nights. We stopped in for one of these nights recently and spoke with Arrow's event and function manager to see how things are shaping up so far.
We're looking into more of family functions as well as getting the community together. We're actually having a function right now where we've got Mary Beth Sheehan, who is the medium, and we put it out there on our Facebook page, and we have over 65 people in there. So we decided to do that. There hasn't been events like this recently that this establishment has done. So this is our first one, and it's a success. So we were nervous about it, you know, when you invite people to your party and you don't know who's going to come. So we certainly hoped for the best, but it surpassed our expectations. This event that we have going on is our second event that we've put on together here. The medium, we always wanted to have a medium here, and we always wanted to bring everybody together. And this is a perfect way of bringing people together from outside the town, and I know there's a couple of regulars there, so definitely bringing everybody together is what we're all about. The story is that we're moving into a direction where we want to incorporate every part of the community. We want to be able to welcome the community, have events for the community, and be a part of this community. To be the fabric of this community. And I think this restaurant will be a part of people's lives. They want to have their parties here, their graduations here. They want to have their Sweet 16s here. And I think that thread will carry through from when a child is celebrating their win of the football team all the way to a high school, you know, a high school after party or something. That's who we want to, you know, welcome.
Plymouth School's VPA Coffeehouse gives students a chance to show off their musical talents to the public in a warm environment of their peers. The venue allows for students who normally write songs outside of school to perform in front of a live audience. PCN stopped by to take a listen.
We are currently at Memorial Hall in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and right now we are setting up for this year's third high school coffee house. We have been doing the coffee house since the fall of 2012, so I believe that makes this the 6th year that we've been running them. The coffee houses began when the director of the Visual and Performing Arts in Plymouth, Mike Capel, he started working with I believe Judy Vigna was in the beginning of this, but Judy Vigna, she does a lot of really amazing stuff around town. Her daughter Caroline was a sophomore at the time, and they wanted to they wanted to create a venue where students could perform, whether it be music or poetry or any sort of performance for people, but stuff that was not necessarily put together with a teacher at the helm, that was not happening in the classroom or in a club, but things that students were doing on their own and with friends. I think that the Coffee House has consistently been a really great place for students to perform. It's always been a very, very, very supportive audience. I remember we a few years ago, it would be that students would come off stage and just like get hugs from everybody, and it honestly caused so much of a traffic jam that we had to say we love that you're all so supportive, but that isn't going to work. We've been able to see students kind of grow over the years, both in their musical abilities, their performance abilities, and really their confidence in what they do. You know, for some students will do a lot of ensembles and stuff like that, and some students, this is the thing that they really look forward to as a performance opportunity, because maybe singing in a group isn't their thing, but they go home and they write songs or they learn songs on guitar, and this is a place for them to put it out to the public.
I heard about it freshman year when I first started getting enrolled in the music program at Plymouth North, and I was just like, oh, this is a good opportunity to put myself out there and sing for my peers and stuff, and sing with my peers, and it was just a lot of fun. And I'm a junior now, and I've been doing it ever since. In high school, I started becoming more out of my shell, and I was able to I had so many supportive friends that were able to help me conquer that fear.
My freshman year, I started Girl Trouble, and a bunch of my upperclassmen friends were telling me all about it, and it seemed like so much fun. So I went to the first one and I watched, and then I started doing it ever since. If you're ever nervous about performing, everybody here is so nice, and we want you to do good. We're here to support you, so please come and try. We love when new people start doing it.
Here's a little fun fact. This is the first time in Massachusetts history that there are more people over 60 than there are 18 and below. The town of Duxbury knows this, and the Senior Center has plans to expand the size of the building to cater to this growing population. We spoke with the Senior Center's director to get an idea of the scope, spectrum, and of course, the cost of this project.
Armpit spread through the palm. Show me the finger strength. Exhale down. Take the double arm. Inhale all the way up.
The Senior Center is a vibrant place full of activity, and to meet the needs of the growing senior population, we need to add more space. And that space is needed for fitness classes because it's so important to exercise and move to keep our bodies strong and healthy. It's important to engage our minds, so we need to have lifelong learning and evidence-based programs. And it's so important to provide care for those with Alzheimer's disease, and so we want to expand our social day program. So we will be going to town meeting this year to ask for an addition. It's Article 17, and we will be asking for approximately $2 million. We haven't gotten the final quote back from the builders yet, but we're expecting to have that by the end of February. We're going to add 4,160 square feet to our building, and we will reconfigure some of the current space. Will be a two-story addition, and what we're doing is maximizing space on our buildable lot. So this will be the only time we'll go to town meeting to ask for an addition, and we're trying to look to the future to make sure we're creating space that's both flexible, that will meet the needs today and well into the future. There is a need. If you look at the census statistics, in 2000 there were 2,300 seniors living in Duxbury. Today there's 4,310, and by 2030 that number is going to be close to 8,000 seniors. That's people 60 and above. Working with John Madden, I asked him, what's it going to do to the tax bill? And he said for an average homeowner with a house value of $685,000, the average bill per quarter would go up $11. So we want our residents to be informed voters. We want them to understand our need, what we're looking for to do with the space, and so that we can meet the needs of the seniors today and long into the future. The needs are complex and diverse, and we work with people from 50 to well over 100, and so we provide a wide range of services, and we want to make sure we're meeting those needs.
If the American flag hanging out in front of your house looks like its better days are behind it, you know, faded and torn in some spots, don't throw it away. It turns out there is a protocol for disposing of that tattered old flag. We spoke with an expert on the proper method of getting rid of Old Glory, and the method might surprise you.
A lot of times people will have a flag, it's torn and tattered, it's worn out from being outside for a year, and they get rid of it by just throwing it in their trash can. And that's the last thing we want them to do, is to throw it in the trash can. There is a proper way to dispose of flags. If you have a flag that is worn out, torn, tattered, just take it to your local VFW American Legion Hall, and they'll be happy to take the flag off your hands. A lot of towns, Duxbury especially, we have a transfer station that accepts flags. So take it to your American Legion Hall, your VFW Hall, or take it to your local transfer station, and they'll accept the flags. We retire the flags once a year at a formal ceremony on Flag Day, which is June 14th. And what we do is we burn the flags. So people always go crazy about hearing that somebody's burning a flag. This is the proper way to retire a flag, as long as you do it through the ceremonial process. What we do once a year, we'll have 3 barrels that we use. We have a ceremony. We usually have the Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts participate with us. There is a certain protocol that you go through, and then you just literally take your time and burn the flags. We burn about 4,000 to 5,000 flags a year at this ceremony. Now, if for some reason you can't get your flag to a American Legion Hall and you want to retire it yourself, you can do that. And what we would ask you to do is you have a little fire pit, you set up a nice fire, you fold the flag into a tri-corner, and then you place it on the fire, recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and then make sure the flag burns thoroughly, and you've retired the flag properly. It's one of those things that you'll know. You'll see a flag, a brand new flag, it has the crisp red, white, and blue. You'll see a flag that's faded, If it's outside in the wind, you'll see it's tattered along the sides. If you've had it for a year and you've kept it outside, it's time to replace it.
The town of Plymouth received a $1 million grant from the state as part of the $11.5 million dam and seawall program undertaken by the Baker-Polito administration. We spoke with the state's Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs to find out what project that money will be funding and some of the broader implications of the program moving forward.
What we're here to talk about today was the Dam and Seawall program. It's an $11.5 million program that funds projects, either dam removals, dam repairs, and seawall repairs and restructuring. And the community of Plymouth was awarded $1 million today as part of that program. The award in Plymouth is going to be used for the removal of the Holmes Playground Dam, which is obviously in Town Brook, and there's going to be great ecological value that comes with the removal of that dam, not only for the brook itself, but for the harbor downstream, and it'll also help with many benefits for public safety as well. It's getting a high hazard dam out of the way that is inhibiting ecological productivity, the health of the overall riverine system in Town Brook. It's removing that. It's going to increase the water quality within that brook, and then subsequently downstream into the harbor itself. And it's also, these old deteriorating dams also present a public safety issue. If someone were nearby and it failed in a high weather storm, that could cause a significant issue of anyone downstream. And the removal of these old, deteriorating dams have multiple benefits. They've, obviously outlived their original intended purpose, and it's time to get them out of the way. And fortunately, the community of Plymouth put a great project forward, worked closely with our team, and was selected for the grant program. We're going to use the work that we're doing right now to understand we're creating the first of its kind climate change adaptation and hazard mitigation plan for the entire Commonwealth, border to border. So that's going to give us a snapshot and an understanding of what are the vulnerable assets, what are the ecological sensitivities, what are the areas we really need to focus on, and that's going to give us sort of our playbook to be able to base sound decisions on what those vulnerable assets are, because we're going to have, for the first time, state level climate data. We're going to be able to overlay on top of that and visually and spatially be able to begin to understand what the potential impacts are, and that's going to help us with future investment to be able to know where we should be putting our money, and when we are doing certain projects and making certain investments, we have an understanding of what the long-term effects of climate change are going to have on those future investments.
We are very pleased to have Town Administrator from Pembroke, Ed Thorne, here today. Welcome,
Julie,
Ed.
always a pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Lots going on in town, in all the towns, because it's getting to be town meeting time.
That's correct.
And our town meeting is May 8th.
Correct.
And obviously the big thing in all town meetings is the budget. Do we have enough money to pay for everything that we all want?
Well, as of today, we do. The town accountant and myself presented a balanced budget to our advisory committee and the Board of Selectmen and the school committee as well. And we've been tweaking it the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to do so between now and probably the 1st of May.
So the balanced budget, as it stands right now, is based on all the income that is going to come in from property taxes and other sources, and all the things that have to go out, and you have balanced that budget.
Yeah, what we've done is we've taken the requests from the various departments, including the school committee, and we've kind of fit it into the available revenues that we have. And as you mentioned, we have some fixed costs that we have, like health insurance and property insurance and unemployment insurance, what have you. So those are fixed costs, retirement, from the county retirement as well. So we have all those, we've identified those. We have some pretty firm numbers now on things like health insurance, which is a big ticket.
Right.
Because in a $67 million budget, health insurance is about $10 or $11 million.
Right.
So once we get those numbers pinned down, then we can work with some of the requests from the various departments.
So now's the time where the various departments come forward and say, hey, we need this, we want this. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that the school department you don't know yet because they haven't presented anything to you.
That's right. They're
Okay.
To their credit, they are closing their gap, and they're going to make a presentation, I believe, in front of the Board of Selectmen at the end of February, beginning of March.
Okay, and you don't know what that request will be.
Nope, they're
Okay.
still working on their numbers.
For fire and police, you already know what they're looking at.
We know what their base numbers are, and now, in addition to what their current staffing levels are and their current expense levels are, they are looking at additional personnel.
Okay, they're not looking for capital for cruisers, they're looking for people.
Well, I think the the police chief is looking at an additional cruiser because, as he'll explain, and did to the selectmen, is that if he only receives funding for one cruiser in the spring, everybody in Massachusetts is buying cruisers all at the same time.
Right.
And therefore, if he doesn't get two right away, and he gets an additional cruiser funded in the fall, he may have to wait 6 months
to get the cruiser.
to get the
Right.
rascal
Okay.
because it's
Okay.
it's
That's
on
just
back
the way
order.
It goes. Right.
Right.
But police are looking for 2 additional personnel.
That's
full-time,
correct.
And fire are looking for at least 2 additional personnel.
That's right. Chief Hill wants to bring his manpower up to 7 paramedics and firefighters on each shift, and he has 4 shifts that he deals with. Right now he has 2 shifts have 7 and 2 shifts have 6.
Okay.
So the minimum he's looking for is 2 additional personnel.
Okay, and unlike any other department in the town, the fire department, actually, their shifts are 24 hours?
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Right.
So you work 24 hours, and then you're off?
Yeah, you're on for 24, you're off for 24, you're on for 24,
Yeah.
then you're off for 4 to 5 days. Now, the other thing that we have is that we run over almost 3,000 ambulance calls a year.
Which is amazing for a town our size.
Well, they're paramedics.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're just one step below
Right.
a physician's assistant or a
Yeah.
doctor. And so there's just a lot of demand
Right.
for that. We do have some mutual aid calls that we assist other communities, but not as many as a lot of people would think.
Okay.
But 3,000 calls is a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot. And they're wonderful. I mean, I know all of our towns have wonderful first responders, but
Right.
Pembroke seems to have,
Yep, they're the best.
yeah, they're really the cream of the crop. Okay, so the DPW also needs pavement money, right?
Yeah, we've been
Keep up with the
talking.
roads.
Yeah, we've had a meeting with the DPW commissioners, with the selectmen, and they presented their pavement management plan, and they need around $800,000 a year to just keep up.
Maintain, right.
Either it's just maintaining the roads or new construction,
Yep.
new pavement, what have you. They only receive $540,000 in Chapter 90 money from the state every year. So the shortfall is around 300,000.
Yep.
So we're working with the DPW director and the commissioners as to whether or not they really want to put forward that that shortfall of 300,000 to the public and to see how the public will respond.
Okay.
Either in the case of probably a Proposition 2.5 override.
Right. Well, in all of this, right? I mean, they make their case in front of town meeting, and all of these things are outside of the regular budget that has been balanced. So
At this
we're talking
time, you're
we're
right.
talking about a 2.5 override. And can you package that all together and say, can the town say, yes, we agree with all these things that have been asked for, and you put it into one big 2.5 override?
Yeah, we've had several instances in the years that I've been in Pembroke where we've had some package
Yeah,
situations way back 2003, I think, and 2008. And then in 2013, I believe, we had a menu.
Right.
Where we had, so many firefighters, so many
I remember that.
firefighters,
Yeah.
one librarian or whatever.
But it's basically going to be up to the voters to
Right,
decide.
exactly, because this is going to be in addition to the budget that
Right.
we have right now.
Okay. All right. So more to come. Town meeting is May 8th.
Correct.
Okay.
And the town election is May the 12th.
That's right, May 12th, shortly
Saturday.
thereafter. Okay. So we'll have more information, and you do your own show here.
Right.
And you do that, and you're going to have the police chief.
Hopefully we'll have both chiefs,
Yep.
fire, police, and the DPW director to talk about the pavement management
Right.
plan.
And what they need. Okay.
And so,
And it's true of all the towns. Everybody's going through the same things.
Oh,
You know?
absolutely.
Yep, everybody's,
It's
and-
that way
Yep.
nationwide.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Okay, thank you very much, Ed. This
My
has
pleasure.
been great. And thank you for watching. If you want to see the show again, you can check out our website, and PCN is also on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook to get up-to-date info. We will see you next week with a brand new PCN. From all of us at PACTV, have a great week.